Phil and the confirmation class giving the message, and they're going to be singing for us. It's going to be wonderful. So you picked the very best Lenten service to come out for. I'll just tell you that. We have one more we're having next week, next Wednesday, either at noon, followed by a soup lunch, or next Wednesday night with the community supper before, and then gathering. And that will be the last of our Lenten services, and then we go into Holy Week. So there is not a Lenten service on Wednesday in Holy Week, but Monday, Thursday, noon and 7. Good Friday, noon and 7. And then the 3 Easter services. So we meet next week, and then it's Holy Week and Easter. Just a couple words about the service. It's the custom here during the Magnificat for the congregation to rise, and so you can do that. And also the custom in the final benediction for everyone to sing it together rather than just for the leader. And we have Jeff as the leader. In the places where it's antiphonal, Psalm 141, he'll begin over here, you can be part 1, I'll stand up here with part 2, just so we're not confused. Let's begin this evening with hymn Lamb of God 336.
Jesus Christ, you are the light of the world, the light of the darkness and overcome. Stay with us now, for it is the evening, and the day is almost over. Let the light scatter the darkness, and shine in your evil fear.
May our prayers come before you, O God, as incense. And may your presence surround and fill us, so that in union with all creation, we might sing your praise and your love in our lives. Amen.
A reading from Matthew chapter 9. As Jesus went on from there, two blind men followed him, crying loudly, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." When he entered the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" They said to him, "Yes, Lord." Then he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith, let it be done to you." And their eyes were opened. Then Jesus sternly ordered them, "See that no one knows of this." But they went away and spread the news about him throughout that district. After they had gone away, a demoniac who was mute was brought to him. And when the demon had been cast out, the one who had been mute spoke. And the crowds were amazed and said, "Never has anything like this been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "By the ruler of the demons, he cast out the demons."
So we've spent the last 3 weeks considering the sayings of Christ upon the cross. Up until this point, we've witnessed the awesome grace and mercy of our Lord as He prayed for forgiveness, as He promised salvation, and as He made provision for His mother. Today, we're going to look at what I consider to be the most difficult of the 7 sayings, which is forsaken. And to try to lighten the mood, me and the confirmation class would like to play a little game. See if you could say the next word in the song when they point to you. Okay? 2, 3. Kumbaya, 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 kumbaya. See if you can do this one. Jesus loves me, this I know. Oh, the Bible tells me so. Little ones to Him belong. They are weak, but He is strong. Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. All right. All right, this next one is a favorite from Lutherdale. The kids really like this one. Cast your burdens onto Jesus because He cares for you. Cast your burdens onto Jesus because He cares for you. Higher, 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 higher. Lift Jesus higher, 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 higher. Lift Jesus higher. Cast your burdens onto Jesus, for He cares for you. Cast your burdens onto Jesus, as He cares for you. All right.
My God, my God, my God.
If you were around the cross at this time, when Jesus was hanging there, and you said the word, and you heard the words, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And you were a devout Jew, you would have known that it was code. Because he wasn't screaming out to God, he was actually saying Psalm 22. And Psalm 22 has two sides to it. It has a desperate side, and then it has the confident side. And Jake and Tim and Matt will be reading it.
My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? So far from my cries of anguish. My God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer. By night, but I find no rest.
Yet you are enthroned as the Holy One, yet you are the one Israel praises. And your ancestors put their trust. They trusted and you delivered them. To you they cried out and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame.
But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by everyone, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They hurl insults, shaking their heads. He trusts in the Lord, they say. Let the Lord rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him.
Yet you brought me out of the womb. You made me trust in you even at my mother's breast. From birth I was cast on you. From my mother's womb you have been my God. Do not be far from me, for trouble is near, and there is no one to help.
So back in Jesus' time, the Psalms was pretty much like the YouTube of today. If you were Jewish, if you were a Jew, that was your psalm book, and you knew this psalm very well. So have you ever felt forsaken? I know I have. Picture an early morning in Bosnia. It's in December, and it's snowing. It's about 5 degrees. I've got 50 pounds on my back, and we're doing a patrol. I couldn't feel my feet. I felt pretty forsaken. Until I saw an elderly woman carrying her water for the day from the well, because during the war, the water supply got blown up. I'm pretty sure she felt forsaken too, for a longer time than I did. Another time I felt forsaken was when my youngest son, Austin, was in the hospital. He had trouble breathing, and we had to rush him there. And I saw my 3-month-old baby lying with tubes coming out. Eventually he got better, but at that moment, as any parent would know, I felt pretty forsaken. And then this past year, a good friend of mine, his wife, had passed suddenly with a heart attack. She had 2 kids. One is 7 and one is 2. And I'm pretty sure my friend was feeling forsaken as well. We've all been there. We've all felt forsaken. It was Friday morning in Jerusalem. It seemed like any other day. But on this day, death was in the air. The word had spread to every corner of the city. The Romans planned to crucify somebody today. The crowd gathered. They head to Golgotha, also known as Skull Hill. The Romans liked that place because the hill is beside the main road. That way, lots of people can watch the crucifixion. On this day, a man named Jesus is to be crucified along with 2 criminals. Word spread like wildfire. At first, the crowd is rowdy and loud. They cheer, they laugh, they shout. They place wagers on who will die first. It appears that the man in the middle will not last long. He has already been severely beaten. He is an awful sight to behold. But then darkness fell across the land. It was high noon, middle of the day. Nobody moved. No one spoke. Not a sound broke a dark silence. Something eerie was going on. It was as if an evil force had taken over the land. It lasted 3 hours long. It was clear the end is near. Jesus is at the point of death. Suddenly he screams only 4 words. My God, why have you forsaken me?" is the translation. Of these words Jesus spoke from the cross, this is the hardest to understand. No statement of Jesus is more mysterious than this one. The problem is not in the words, for the most part. But what do they mean? In my research throughout the week, I found some theories that the cry was of disillusionment. The cry was of physical suffering. The cry was a fulfilled prophecy, or it was a cry of reality. Christ had no sin, but God made him become sin so that in Christ we would be right with God. God had Christ, who was sinless, take our sins so that we might receive God's approval through him. God put the wrong on him, who never did anything wrong, so we could be put right with God. Let's go one step further. God the Father turned away from God the Son because the Father's eyes were too pure to look upon the sin of the world. God's holiness demands that he turn away from sin. God will have no part of it. He turned away from sin, but in the process, he turned away from his Son. My God, why have you forsaken me? So he became sin in order that we can become saved. The truth has two great implications. I must never minimize the cost of my sin. Sometimes we laugh at sin and say, oh, it's not that bad, it's just a white little lie. But it was for my sin that Jesus died that day. It was because of my sin that the Father to turn away from the Son. And Jesus cried, my God, why have you forsaken me? And number two, I must never minimize the cost of my salvation. It is possible that some Christians become tired of hearing about the cross. It is possible that we would rather hear about happy things. But did you know that without the pain of the cross, there would be no happy ending? Without the cross, there would be no forgiveness. Without the cross, there would be no salvation. Without the cross, we would be lost forever. Without the cross, our sins would still be upon us. Amen.
The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Hymn 335. Great and merciful God, source and ground of all goodness and life, give to your people the peace that passes all understanding and the will to live your gospel of mercy and justice. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. In the words printed here, God remember us in your love and teach us to pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Save us from the time of trial and deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen.
I use something called because see, I used it before last year. I kind of went on my own and I just used it as a guide. But we use the small catechism. You know, and we use Lutheran study catechism.
I'm just curious, remember you?
Yeah. There's some 7 different ones that we can use. It's crazy. But when I was shopping for them, you know what I mean? The kids go on, the kids like this, it makes which is what I need. 7 to 8. Yeah. 7th graders is second for the year and 8th graders. So they do 2 years.
Push the button. Right. It takes a while. Oh, does it? I didn't know. You're absolutely right.
Thanks.